Hello everybody, this is Bill, SixRounds Studio. Today, short video, we are going to dismantle Brad's 44 Carbine so that I can polish and glue it. This is not a disassembly video, even though I'm taking this apart. I will dismantle the parts that I need to get apart in order to do the polish and glue, but it is not a disassembly video. For instance, there's no way I'm going to take the lower housing apart. It's in good shape. The color's good. The finish is good. We're going to leave that alone, so I'm not dismantling that. I am going to take apart all of the stuff that is connected to the barrel, and I will point out some major errors that a lot of first-timers or people in a hurry make, which cause all kinds of problems for the future. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. First thing we want to do is we want to make sure that the spring pressure is released, so that we've released the bolt so that it's full forward. We want to take the pressure off the spring itself. There is a pin back here. It is the only pin. It is the only thing that secures all of this to the upper as it is. So again, we'll pull that pin. Now we are still under pressure. I'm going to use this glove because sometimes this thing does get a little mean. We are going to lift the rear and pull it backwards at the same time. If we lift it too hard, there is an aluminum tab under here that people break all the time. And Roadies, the old family shop, we were forever fixing those. And then, come on, baby. There we go. So this one does not have the same tab. This is a little bit different model, but I'll show you what happens. This is going to fit up underneath. This will fit up underneath. There is a tab underneath on here. It's a little different than the older ones, which do have a tab that slide underneath. But it's the same thing. If you try to lift this thing, you're going to break it. You can see how dirty this gun is. It's typical. They're all dirty, rather. I'm going to remove the spring. Once the spring is removed, we're happy. It's a happy gun. Okay. Come back. There is the ejector handle, or the bolt handle. This rod is what operates the bolt. I'll remove that. This is the tube for the ammunition. And now we're stripped down. The operating system, or the operating rod, is stripped down. I still need to get the bolt out of here. The bolt is not always a fun thing to get out if you don't get it aligned. But what I want to point out to you is this right here. This is where this tab fits up underneath, and then it comes down, and you can put the pin back in. This, like I said, you always want to lift gently and pull back. This is why I wear the glove, because sometimes that spring bites me. This actually may be a later model. This may be how they fix the broken tabs. Actually, I wish I knew the answer to that, and I don't, guys. I know a lot about these things, but I guess I don't know everything. Damn. This is the cartridge guide. All right, there we go. Now it's happy. Forgot that one part. like I said, no matter how many times I've done this, sometimes I think that's all the parts. That's all the parts. Yep. Oh, nope, one right there. Oh, that's staked. All right, so here's another change. This is the cartridge guide. It's what guides the cartridge out of the tube and then into the chamber. And this one here is staked or riveted. A lot of the earlier ones, they were screwed in. So I know now that this is a later one. And if you unscrewed it or took it off and forgot to put it back in, the gun simply wouldn't work. So, yep. What do they call it in the book? Do they even show it? Oh, they do. 6. So 6. No, it's not the ejector. All right. The next thing we need to do is take out these 2 screws for a scope. We will pull these 2 screws out here, which is for a scope. And then we'll pull the 2 sights out. And then we will be disassembled and ready for polish and glue. I mentioned this in other disassembly videos. Unless you're an expert at a gun and see it all the time, I always try to keep the parts together. Like the screw is what holds this in place. These are pretty large. That's good for that. I will put the sights in there when I'm done. This will stay here. There's a pin. There's the pin. All right. Well, it came out remarkably easy. They don't always. Don't always. So they go in right to left, they come out left to right. Supposedly. Well, she's hard. Okay, there's our sight, our rear sight. Front sight. So I'm surprised the thing works a little bit because the piston is not free. So that means there's a lot of dirt up inside the gas port for this thing as well. So it's got to come out this way. piston or the retainer is a split pin, and it goes in from the right. Okay, now what should happen is this should come out. Why is that dirty? So, for reference, there is an adjustment screw that helps adjust the gas of the port. And when that is in, that will be facing the muzzle. And this goes in here like so. So let's talk a little bit about this. So a lot of dirt, and these 44 carbines do not like a lot of dirt. You want to make one fail? Don't clean it. It is one of the dirtiest 44 cartridge, or 44 cartridge is one of the dirtiest I know of, period. And these or this is why these things sometimes will not function. And when you start looking at all of the dirt, like on this bolt, this is why these Ruger carbines will fail, and including this lower housing here, because it gets extremely dirty, because again, it's gas operated, so all the residue from the firing of the cartridge, it comes back and it dumps its way or dumps itself into this lower. So these lowers have to be cleaned as well. And yeah, and there's methods for this without dismantling it. If you dismantle this, you want to be paying close attention, because there's a lot of little parts and they don't always like to play nice together. So I generally try not to take these apart. But anyway, dirt is the thing, and especially in this gas port where the hole in the bottom of the barrel will then feed gas down into this piston, and the piston is what racks the yeah, let's get it in here, like, is what racks this back and forth. And the pressures have to be matched correctly. There's a lot of engineering and science that goes into how these things work and work well. Now, again, this is not a disassembly video. We have fixed a lot of these over the years, and again, some of the problems. So we're going to polish in blue. I was not going to polish this receiver. Brad, I'm going to polish your receiver. So yeah, get ready for that one too. We'll do a light polish. There's no nicks or any kind of deep scratches or burrs in here, so that'll be a light polish. Most of this barrel will be a light polish as well. The thing that you were most concerned about was the pitting up in the front. We'll get after that and make all that disappear as well. I want to talk a little bit before I let you go about this dirt and how it affects the bluing process as well. I've had a lot of private questions or private message questions about bluing and how folks are trying to use the rust bluing process. and how they're having some difficulty and often failing. And one of the things that, if we're not getting in here and cleaning this thing up really, really well, the bluing itself will fight you. So after we're done polishing this, we are definitely going to do a huge cleaning job to make sure that the oils and the residues are gone so that we get the best look and luster that we can. All right, like I said, guys, short video this week. Next week we get on to the polishing. I'll show you the polishing. You guys left me your feedback. You said polish and blue was a thumbs up. We're going to divide that. We're going to do the polishing. It'll be a relatively short polishing video because I've done several of these in the past. Getting that done, we'll come back. We'll come back and do the bluing. That'll be a little longer, a little more comprehensive video. And like I've said, there's a lot of those already up on the channel. So how detailed it gets, I don't know. It depends on how my mouth motors when we get to doing this. Same thing as always, guys. If you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are growing. We are growing very nicely, and I owe it all to you. I love you, and I will see you in the next video coming up soon. Bye, guys. So I was a little bit confused here, and I believe they have misnumbered these. They are calling number 7. They're calling it the cartridge guide plate, which it's not. This is the cartridge guide plate, which is number 6, which they're calling the ejector. And I believe these need to be reversed. This is the ejector, and this is the cartridge. This is the ejector, and this is the cartridge guide plate, which is what I called it to start with. Yeah, read, trust, but verify.